Hare Krishna to all dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. Yeah, I'll share the screen. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 20th, the Dynasty of Puru. Text 23. Sukadev Goswami said, when Maharaj Dushmanta passed away from this earth, his son became the emperor of the world, the proprietor of the 7 islands. He is referred to as a partial representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this world. Text 24 to 26. Maharaj Bharata, the son of Dushmanta, had the mark of the Lord Krishna's disc on the palm and his right hand. Uh, of his right hand, and he had the mark of the lotus hole on the sole of his feet. By worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead with the grand ritualistic ceremony, he became the emperor and the master of the entire world. Then, under the priesthood of uh, Manmantre Bhrugumuni, he performed 55 horse sacrifice on the bank of the Ganges, beginning from its mouth and ending to its source, and 78 horse sacrifice on the bank of the Yamuna, beginning from the confluence at the Prayaga and ending at the source. He established the sacrificial fire on an excellent site, and he distributed the great wealth to the Brahmanas. Indeed, he distributed so many cows that each of the thousands of Brahmana had one Padwa. 13,084 has his share. Text, text 27. Bharata, the son of Maharaj, Dushmanta bounded 3,300 horses for those sacrifice, and thus he astonished all other kings. He surpassed even the opulence of the demigods. For he achieved the supreme spiritual master Hari. Text 28. When Maharaj Bharata performed the sacrifice known as a Masnara, or the sacrifice in the place known as Masnara, he gave the charity 14 lakhs of excellent elephant with the white tusk and the black bodies completely covered with the golden ornaments. Text 29. Hence, one cannot approach the heavenly planet simply by the strength of his arms, or for who can touch the heavenly planets with his hands. One cannot imitate the wonderful activities of Maharaj Bharata. No one could perform such activities in the past, nor will anyone be able to do so in the future. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madhu. Hare Krishna. So we'll offer brief prayers and we'll continue from there. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chekshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirushesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desutarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So it's a nice section, actually. A lot of things to learn from this section, but we'll cover whatever we can given the time we have. So where in the last session we heard from His Grace Chaitanya Charitamrita Prabhu about Dushmanta, King Dushmanta, and Shakuntala, that pastime, and we learned many things there also. And then we also heard that how they had a son whose name was Bharata. So now this section we are covering today is primarily two broad sections are there. One is how King Bharata ruled the kingdom nicely. That is one portion of the section we are reading today, this chapter. And then towards the end, we hear about Bharadwaja's background. Who was Bharadwaja and how was he born, like that. That background also we'll hear. So, proceeding on to the first King Bharata's ruling. So, here we're starting from text 23. Here, Sukadeva Goswami is describing that after King Dushmanta passed away from this earth, his son became the emperor of all the 7 islands. And in this verse, he is described as a partial representation of Supreme Personality of Godhead in this world. So, interestingly, Sri Prabhupada writes in the purport that anyone having extraordinary opulences in this world, we need to understand they are a partial representation of the opulence of the Supreme Lord, like that. So one lesson for us to learn is, whenever we see somebody having great opulence, where somebody is very, very beautiful, somebody is very, very wealthy, somebody is very, very famous, whatever that opulence happen to be, out of the 6 opulences we know, right? Then we always need to see in connection with Krishna. By Krishna's mercy, they got this opulence, like that we need to see. And at the same time, you can also remember, if this person is so beautiful and so attractive, if this person is so wealthy and so attractive, if this person is so famous and so attractive, then how much attractive our Krishna must be. Like that we can consider also. That way we can remember Krishna through all this, anything we see, anything we hear, that is attractive in this life. Now going to text number 24 to 26 is described, this Maharaj Bharata had the auspicious symbols of the Supreme Lord Krishna himself on his hands and his feet also, it seems. So that's again another sign of auspicious personality. And then here it's described, one interesting thing in this verse I noted is that he worshipped the Supreme Lord. That's so he ruled the kingdom by becoming the emperor of the entire world, like that. And what did he do after becoming the ruler of the kingdom? For the welfare of the society, he did so many sacrifices. In that age, that is not in Kali Yuga. So he did Ashwamedha Yagnas at that time. It is described, he did 55 Ashwamedha Yagnas on the bank of the Ganges and 78 Ashwamedha Yagnas on the bank of the Yamuna, like that. And then he also established sacrificial fire, and he also distributed lot of wealth to the Brahmanas, as described. Not wealth only, not in terms of gold or something, but also lot of cows he donated, it seems. So, few things here. One thing is, the purpose of king doing all these yagnas or sacrifices is to make sure the people are happy, prosperous, and progressively growing in spiritual life also. That is one important thing. Another important thing is Brahminical culture is maintaining by doing yagnas, by giving charity to Brahmanas, and by doing these two things is maintaining the Brahminical culture and Vedic civilization nicely, like that. That's another principle we can learn. So Prabhupada focuses on one aspect in the purport, which is what is the best yagna we can do for the Kali Yuga. In fact, this is one of the prominent theme in Srimad Bhagavatam purports of Prabhupada. Wherever yagna is touched here and there, Prabhupada comes to this particular point. So that's why it's very, very important for us to understand also. So one aspect Prabhupada talks about is how in that age when Maharaj Bharata was there, it was appropriate to conduct Ashwamedha Yagnas. But right now in Kali Yugas, according to Brahma Vaivarta Purana, there are 5 forbidden actions indicated in the purport here. So one of them is Ashwamedha Yagnas also, and others are sacrificing cows and then offering flesh or meat to the forefathers and acceptance of sannyasa and having children and the wife of a brother, all those things are prohibited for this age. Number one. So that means we cannot do animal sacrifices anymore in Kali Yuga. Number two, Prabhupada highlights the point that even if you want to do elaborate sacrifice, we don't have so much wealth like Bharata here. He will see in the later verses, he distributed, like in this verse also, he distributed 13,084 cows for each Brahmana. So, and distributed gold to all the Brahmanas. We don't have, and he distributed elephants also is described in later verses. So we don't have so much opulence to do yajnas. Number, that's another point, Prabhupada. So first point he made was, in Kali Yuga animal sacrifices are not recommended. Second point he made was that we don't have so much opulence to do yajnas like that. And the third point he makes is that even if we can do something great, we don't have so much qualified Brahmanas in Kali Yuga easily available like that. So because of that, when there's no qualified Brahmanas, the yajna effect will not be perfect. So now, so then what is the prescribed yajna sacrifice for this age? That is Sankirtan yajna. That is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give us like that. So Prabhupada encourages all of us to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra either together with other devotees. So we can chant as a Sankirtan, means usually doing it together, right? So that we can do. Or whenever that is not possible, at least alone we can do the Japa or Kirtan also. So both are recommended by Prabhupada in this purport. So basically, Prabhupada encourages us, but to have the pure effect of the Sankirtan, Prabhupada is encouraging us to stop the four sinful activities, main sinful activities. Of course, we need to stop all the sinful activities, but the four main sinful activities are meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex and gambling. So we should stop those. That means we should maintain our purity in our life by not doing any kind of sinful activities, and then engage in Sankirtan Yajna, chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So when we do that, then our life can become perfect. So that is about up to 26th verse. Now, in the 27th verse, this is describing how he gave so much horses in sacrifice, and then how he had so much opulence beyond the demigods also. Why? Because he achieved Supreme Lord Hari. That is the point being made in the purport, verse also, in the purport also. Prabhupada is confirming to us that getting lot of money, becoming lot of famous, that is not the highest achievement. Highest achievement is to achieve the bhakti to a Supreme Lord Krishna. That is the highest achievement. So we should be focused on that highest achievement in our life. And once we achieve that, everything else is already achieved like that. And then text number 28. Yeah, this also describing how he did sacrifices and gave in charity 14 lakhs, that is like 1.4 million elephants, it seems, covered with golden ornaments he gave, it seems. That's what this verse is describing. And the following verse, is glorifying again Maharaj Bharata, that nobody can have such opulence like that. In the past and present, nobody had it like that. And then text number 30 is describing when he was on a tour, he not only sat in one place and did sacrifices, but he went on a tour to make sure, because he's emperor, that means there are so many kings under him. So he went to make sure all the kings are following Vedic civilization or not. All the kings are respecting Brahminical culture, promoting Brahminical culture or not. If they are not doing it, either he defeated them or he killed them even. So that is how he made sure Vedic civilization and Brahminical culture is maintained, which is important for all of us to grow spiritually like that. That is what is being described here in text number 30. Now in text number 31, he even helped the demigods. How? Sometimes demons took the wives of the demigods and the daughters of the demigods and they took them to lower planet system called Rasatala, it seems. So Maharaj Bharata, what did he do? He fighted with the demigods and he rescued the wives of demigods and daughters of demigods and returned them back to the heavenly planets, to the demigods only. And that's how much powerful he was, Maharaj Bharata. And Maharaj Bharata, in the text number 32, mm, yeah, he ruled for 27,000 years, it is described. We know in Satyuga, people used to live for 100,000 years. Of course, there are exceptions like people like Manus and there are Chiranjeevis. They live for a lot more than that also. So then, text number 33. Now, after ruling the kingdom so nicely, promoting Vedic civilization, promoting Brahmanic culture like that, finally, Bharat Maharaj thought, oh my God, what am I doing? Whatever I'm engaged in this family life, engaged in this uh, maintaining everything like that, but these are not helping me for spiritual advancement. I need to focus on spiritual advancement. So, like it's prescribed in the Vedic culture, after having successful, responsible grihastha life, married life, taking care of the responsibilities of a family, then one is encouraged and recommended and inspired to take to next ashram, which is Vanaprastha ashram. So he took up the Vanaprastha ashram, where he left the family members, kingdom, even though everything was so nicely going on, not because he doesn't have any other option. When everything is nicely going on, he left that for his son and for his sons, and he left like that. That's what is being described here. So that's so Emperor Bharata took Vanaprastha ashram. So one other item here to note is, some people think that we should become retired when we cannot do anything. For example, some people think when I'm not able to do office work, then I should retire from office work. When I'm not able to do anything, any other enjoyment, then I need to read Bhagavad Gita. When I'm not able to do any other enjoyment, then I need to take association of devotees like that. That's a misconception, because and the scriptures are given as a way to conduct our life. So they're not helpful for us. That kind of misconceptions are not helpful. So instead, while we have our eyesight properly, we should read scriptures. While we can hear properly, we should hear scriptures from gurus and sadhus like that. And then while we are able to do service to Krishna, we should do our best service we can do like that. So that's the lesson we can learn from this section. Now going to the next verse, 34th verse. He had 3 pleasing wives, but apparently they had children who were not resembling the king. So they thought, wow, the king may think that we are cheated, we are unfaithful to him, and he will reject us. So they killed the children themselves, it seems. Now the drawback of that was the king didn't have any child or son at all. So now king, what did he do? He did a sacrifice to please the Maruts. And then Maruts appeared, and Maruts gave a son by name Bharadvaja. So the next section talks about uh, background of Bharadvaja. Who is Bharadvaja? Like that, it talks about it. So there is some important lessons there also, so we can go through them now. So this Bharadvaja, we know Bharadvaja later became one of the 7 sages also, Saptarishis. So apparently, text 36 onwards is describing that it's a very short section, only 4 verses, but whole Bharadvaja's life is described basically in terms of his background. So we know Brihaspati is the priest or the spiritual master of the demigods. One time he became overpowered by sex impulse, and then he forced himself on the wife of his brother. Brother's name is, let me see, I don't see the brother's name here, but brother's wife name is given. Brother's wife name is Mamata. I think I saw brother's name somewhere in what is his name? Burjan Prabhu's guide. Yeah, but not here. Anyways, Brihaspati forced himself on Mamata because he got attracted overpowered by sexual impulse. So then he actually begot a child through her. That child is none other than this Brihaspati. And this Brihaspati, not Brihaspati, Bharadvaja. So this Bharadvaja, finally, neither Mamata maintained him, nor this Brihaspati maintained the child that was born. It's unfortunate, but that's what they chose to do. Because they thought he's an illegitimate child, so he will not be good for anything like that, they thought. But Maruts maintained him, and whenever this King Bharata made this sacrifice like this for having children, sons, then uh, they gave the Bharadwaja as his son like that. So there are some things we can learn from this section also. First thing is, when such a exalted person like the spiritual master or the priest of the demigods can do such a mistake overpowered by sexual impulse, then what about us? We can also expect that these sex urges are very difficult, or the power of illusion is so difficult to overcome. So that means we need to be guarded against this potential overpowering of illusion like that. How can we guard against these things? We talked briefly yesterday, but essentially the essential things are always try to follow dharma, always try to please Krishna, always take guidance of exalted souls like Brahmana Vaishnavas like that. That is one principles we can maintain. Another thing is, we should always try to stay in the association of devotees and regulate our life so that we are working towards the ultimate goal of our life only. So then when we regulate our life, when we have scheduled what to do, then usually when we are busy with our sadhana and seva, then we are not uh, taken away by anything else, distractions like this. That's another principle we can learn. Yeah, and then also another principle we can learn from here in Bharadwaja's pastime is that Bharadwaja was born. It's such an illegitimate connection between Brihaspati and his brother's wife like this on force. But just because he has inauspicious birth doesn't mean anything. He became a great sage, one of the Saptarishis. So similarly, sometimes we may be thinking, oh, I wish my parents were devotees. I wish I was born to a devotee parents. I wish when I was growing up, when I was a child, I knew bhakti. All that we may think. But even though we may not have all that advantages, we might have disadvantages of a poor birth or inauspicious birth, but by taking bhakti, with Krishna's mercy, we can actually perfect our life. So we don't need to feel for disadvantages that we have in our birth or upbringing like that. So we can always be grateful to our parents for whatever they have done for us, and then be grateful for the bhakti path that devotees have shown us now, and then sincerely practice bhakti now like that. That's another lesson we can learn. So, and the third lesson we can learn is, another lesson with Bharadwaja pastime and Brihaspati pastime we can learn is that just because Brihaspati fell down one time and did such an abominable action, we don't need to judge his entire life by that one action only. So sometimes people are overpowered by sensory illusions, uh, sensory distractions like that. We don't have to judge them just by their one action. We should look at the overall character and their life, how they connected, and then treat them accordingly like that. That's another important principle we can learn. This is very helpful in all relationships, including family members also. Sometimes one of our family members does one gross mistake, then we discount them as a useless person in the whole life like that. that is not appropriate. So instead, we should give them opportunity to rectify themselves, opportunity to be reinstated in a proper position again, like that. That's another lesson we can learn from here. And then finally, the last lesson is that in the ninth canto, we've been seeing pastime after pastime. Somebody has great wealth, everything is gone. Somebody has a good life, everything is gone. Somebody has a good wife, everything is gone. Somebody was enjoying a whole life for thousands of years, but then they were not satisfied. So what we can learn is, we need to remember what is significant in our life, what is important in our life, what is relevant in our life, what is versus what is insignificant, what is not important, what is temporary. That when we have that focus in our life, then we focus on what is significant and important, which is practice of bhakti to please Krishna and Guru Varga. So when we focused on that, then we can grow in our bhakti and achieve perfection of life by Krishna's mercy. So that's another important principle we are getting. So we need to always be clear what is significant and focus our time, energy and enthusiasm on that only. Yeah. So just to give a quick recap, we heard about several lessons from the life of Bharat Maharaj, how he protected Brahminical culture and Vedic civilization, and how he achieved whatever he achieved by the mercy of Krishna, and how Sankirtana is the best thing to do in this life by keeping ourselves pure without doing any sinful activity. And we heard about how we should not judge others by one action, by seeing Brihaspati pastime. And we also learned how nothing is disadvantage in bhakti life, where we were born, how we were born, how we were grown up. Nothing is a disadvantage. You can still take up bhakti and grow nicely in bhakti, we heard. And that way we can make our life auspicious. And then we also heard about the power of illusion, how it can derail us. Such a great personality like Brihaspati has realized. So we need to be careful. We should never think, oh, I am so great. I have so much control on my senses. I have so much control on my mind. I can do anything. It's okay. Don't think like that. We need to be careful and be in devotee association and have a regulated life and develop taste for bhakti, so we don't get derailed with any kind of distractions. So those are, and also we heard how we need to focus on what is the significant things in our life and not get swayed away by insignificant, unimportant, irrelevant things that are just temporary in our life. Yeah, we'll pause here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhesha Kupaha Sindhubhyo cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you so much, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Ram, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.